And I am back here on the channel. It is the groundbreaking, earth shaking, soul taking, dragon king making, the man, the myth, the legend, the most electrifying YouTuber in YouTuber entertainment today, Lee Cole the Fourth. And welcome to the channel. If you guys couldn't notice on here, a friend did a painting for me today. He did a painting of the dragon of Kung Lao, and I kind of designed it like a scar going across my eye. Thought it was a cool aesthetic, so I really like the feel of the way it looks. Was thinking about maybe getting a tattoo of it. Just joking. These beautiful looks right here, these beautiful looks are gonna stay the same. So I'm back here on the channel. I don't know how many people I'm gonna have who are gonna join me for this live stream, but you know me, I just shoot off the hip. So I am getting ready to do a review on Dumbo. Yes, Dumbo, with no spoilers. There will be no spoilers in this review at all. This is just a bare bones me covering what this movie is about and giving you a general idea of what I think of this film. So, Dumbo. Interesting. I don't like to agree with critics. I really don't. I absolutely, positively do not like to side with critics whatsoever. Yes, I got the dragon on my face. A coworker did this for me for an arts and craft things for the kids. We had a kid carnival, so I did the Kung Lao dragon from Iron Fist onto my face. So that's the deal with the dragon on my face. Or we could just say I'm getting ready for Game of Thrones. Anyways, this review is the bare bones, the bare minimum of a review on this movie that I can give to you. I'm going to try hard not to spoil anything because this film is a very interesting film. Thank you, Phantom. So anyways, as I was saying, this film works on a lot of different levels, and it doesn't work on some... Okay, sorry about that. Just self-promoting. Okay, so this film works on some levels, and it doesn't work on other levels. And it's a really interesting mixed bag of things that are going on. I thought the elephant was going to be the first thing that kind of took me out of the movie. But instead, it was not the elephant. Actually, by all sense of the word, this movie is about Dumbo. And I'll get to that when I get into my pros and cons for this film. So let me give you an overview. This is a reimagined version of Dumbo. If you've seen the original, this does not follow it whatsoever. This is what Maleficent was. They took the character of Dumbo, and I felt like they changed the story around a bit. They changed certain aspects, and for once, I don't think it was a bad thing. I think you have a situation that you did for Maleficent where this movie sets itself apart from the main narrative, and not in the bad way. I think that it has more heart and emotion than the previous Disney film did. And I'll get to that'll be in my pros. I'll get to my pros and go in depth to why I think that this one works really well. And that goes into Tim Burton doing this. And Tim Burton is a very extraordinarily good writer. I love Tim Burton. I watch everything that he does, and Tim Burton does something very clever with this story. Tim understands... hey, Phoebe. Tim understands that we don't want to see a rehash of the original Dumbo. Everyone's seen Dumbo. What Tim does is he takes elements of the story and reimagines it in every sense of the word. It really is a reimagination of Dumbo. I'd almost say that it's as if it's a separate story featuring the same character. So let's start off with my overview. The story is Dumbo is born in the circus and is originally named Jumbo, which was interesting. No one ever addressed that in the original movie that I can remember. It was always Dumbo. And how the elephant gets the name is clever, and I'm not going to ruin anything, but you got to see it. It's actually really smartly done. Tim Burton has an eye for camera work and for working little subtle nuances into the story to explain things and make it make sense to an audience. And one thing that that he does is the subtle things that he puts in there to get us from point A to point B. So basically, Dumbo is born separated from her mom. That part of the story is still the same. The elephant part, the core, is still the same, but the main dynamic, the thing that changed, is everything else that follows. How they get from point A to point B, even the very ending, everything is much different than the original. What's up, $3? I know you're working. Good to see you. So my overview is this. It's weird. If you're expecting to see the original, it is not that. Tim has made a new story, just called it Dumbo. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. People have been crying out because Disney is retrending stuff. And I don't think Disney knew where Tim was going to take this, which is why I feel like maybe they didn't protect this movie as hard as they could have. And I'll get to that in the rest of my pros for this film. But Tim takes it in a very interesting way, and not Willy Wonka, scary Johnny Depp way. I mean, back to the basics of what Tim does, and that's imagination. Tim Burton captures our imagination. He shoots shot composition that expands the mind, and he is brought together again with the great Danny DeVito. And it's like seeing someone who's worked with that director and they just know their role. And Danny DeVito does stand out. And once again, he's reunited with Michael Keaton. Remember, this cast hasn't been together since Batman Returns. So it's like veterans back in their groove. And you could tell the way DeVito and Keaton interact, it's so natural because they've acted together before. And you can see the way that they play off of each other. That's right, PB. Let them all know. Smash that melee button. So, I mean, the way that they interact in this story is good. But I'm getting into my pros. Let me finish the overview. You know, the story, Dumbo, Mother, they get separated. But then that's where the story kind of takes a twist and a turn. Because I don't quite remember all of the plot points for the original, but I do notice the change. So let me get to my pros. I am a huge fan of Eva Green. I am a huge fan of Michael Keaton. I am a huge fan of Danny DeVito, and I am a huge fan of, well, it depends on the day. I have mixed feelings about Colin Farrell. But given the right role, he could be good. But here's the weird part, and here's the weird part about my pros. The elephant is the star. Just think about that for a second. And it makes sense because the title of the film is Dumbo. And Burton knows this. Burton knows that the core, the heart of his story is not the star power he has, but the elephant. And it's brilliant because he telegraphs this story around the elephant. And at first the CGI, I know, no Goose the cat. I'm a little sad about it, but you know, Goose gets love from me on a daily. So, anyways, it's brilliant because Dumbo is the star of his movie, and just think about that. The movie's called Dumbo, and Dumbo is the centerpiece of the movie, and I think that's where the biggest strength lies. The acting is subpar, and I'll get to my pros with that, but it's almost like it's on purpose. It's almost like Burton doesn't want you to forget what the story is about. He knows he's got good actors. He's worked with Eva Green. He's worked with Michael Keaton. He's worked with Danny DeVito. He's worked with all of them. He knows the star power he has, but he doesn't want them to take you out of the narrative. He wants you to be connected to the main character. And this is where the movie's greatest strength lies, is in the story of Dumbo, in the story of the elephant, which is brilliant because, once again, it's about the elephant, right? And it took me a while to adjust. The beginning of the movie didn't really hook me, but there's a particular scene in the film where you see the elephant going up, and several times through the film, you see things through Dumbo's eyes, which, once again, brilliant touch by Tim Burton. You see what Dumbo sees, almost as if we get a perspective, finally, of Dumbo, what Dumbo's viewing us as through his eyes. And there's something powerful that helps you connect with this CGI character to where you're about halfway through the movie and you don't even notice the CGI anymore. It's almost like this is a real elephant and you're really experiencing the elephant's journey. And I can't believe I'm actually talking about a CGI character that's having an arc here. But much like what they did in Bumblebee, this story is about Dumbo and the arc is all about him. The characters have their own arc, but really the journey is about Dumbo and how the characters become better through Dumbo. I know, PB, I'm bringing up stuff SJWs don't want to hear, man. They don't like the character arcs. They don't like the character building. But that's what Tim Boy is doing here. That's what he's doing. He is building the world around the character, and the actors are actually foils to the main part of the story, and that is the elephant. And that's what makes this so clever. That's what makes this film start to shine out, is the fact when you get into the movie, you're not invested in Keaton, DeVito, Eva Green, Colin Farrell, none of them. You're invested in Dumbo, the elephant. You want to know how his story ends, how he feels, what he's going through. It's a child growing up, and the allegory is through an elephant, a baby elephant. And you see the elephant growing up. You actually see how smart elephants really are. And you see the bond that Dumbo not only has with the main cast, but with trying to get to its mother. And there's something powerful about it, about midway through, where the movie starts to really shine. And this is its greatest strength. Now to the cons. And there's a few of them. I'd say Dumbo's weakness lies actually in the supporting cast. But like I said, that's also a strength, and it's a negative. This is a double-edged sword. Because you do have star power, that's almost wasted. Because Tim has taken the focus off of Keaton, DeVito, Ava Green, and all of them, and he's put you in the shoes of Dumbo. The brilliant part... Yes, the Wrath of Cons. I hate to throw them in. The brilliant part that makes this film so brilliant is also the part that critics can't get behind, and I hate to say it, but I almost see their point. The supporting cast almost takes a back seat too far back. You can have your supporting cast take a back seat. That's fine. But at the same time, they have to have moments, and I didn't feel any moments. I was more invested in Dumbo, don't get me wrong, and he kept me in the movie, and he kept me engaged, wanting to get to that end climax, wanting to see the story unfold, even though I knew, because of the childhood tale, where it was going. I was legitly worried about the elephant, but that forced me to not really care about the deeper subplots that he's weaving through the story. And at first I thought it was going to be a sort of political thing, because he mentions big corporate world taking over the smaller world. It's about circuses and the corporate circus versus the small traveling circuses, which, according to history, they did die out due to big grand stages. So I don't even really see it as a political thing. But the funny thing is, And I can't believe Disney didn't pick up on this, but watch the film and look at the allegory he throws in. And I might do a spoiler review to kind of highlight it. I don't want to ruin it for you guys, but watch the ending really closely, and it kind of feels like he's throwing a nod to what Disney is doing right now. And it's hilarious because I don't think they realized what the message he's sending out is until the product was out there. So I would love to see if any of them over there even picked up on what his inner meaning was behind this really powerful scene at the end of the film, because it does resonate, and I picked up on it immediately, and I was actually laughing because I was like, oh, he didn't. No, he did. He threw that in there. And anyone who thinks that Disney is pulling shenanigans needs to go and see this movie for that scene, because there's a strong metaphor at the end of the film, and it's really brilliantly crafted in. And this is what makes Tim Burton such a visionary in the craft, is how he weaves these things together. So my con was the supporting cast, and Keaton and DeVito are good with each other, but Keaton comes off as overbearingly evil, like that old Disney evil, like twirling his mustache kind of evil. I can't stand that, like that cartoon hammy kind of feel to it. I'm an adult now. I can't do it. It's very, it's weird. It's weird in films. The twirling your mustache kind of villain is done. We like layers, and Keaton's character is very simplistic, and maybe on purpose, but he's very one-dimensional. DeVito kind of steals the show, because DeVito and Keaton work together as a mirror, because essentially they're both the same people, but DeVito gives more layers to his character, but yet again, his acting isn't allowed to shine through because we're so focused on the elephant. But if you look to other people, the acting is there. The other thing I didn't like, there was a slight little SJW nod, little jab. It was there. Burton doesn't go crazy with it, and I don't think it's a full-on statement. Okay, to his defense, I have known Tim Burton's work for a long time, and he doesn't strike me as a guy who goes SJW. It was more of the daughter makes an offhanded comment when the father said, "Oh, I wish you would have gotten an act here in the show," and she says, "Oh, what? I can't show my mind," or something to that effect. And I was like, "Oh, all right, whatever." I mean, it wasn't consistently through. You could just tell where it was sprinkled here and there. But as always, this is Hollywood, so you expect that. You expect they're going to throw their little things here and there. But here's the weird part about this character. I did not like the girl in the beginning. But surprisingly, she has an arc. And then when you go to the ending and you see from what she said to the beginning to the ending, he makes it connect and make sense. And this is 1910. So they really didn't have equal rights. So I can buy the narrative that he puts in there because it's relevant to the time. And this is a timepiece. Therefore, throwing in something in there about equality kind of makes sense to the time frame that they were in. Men did expect women to do certain roles. In the circus, they had acts. Nothing he threw in broke the continuity of the time or the story. So it didn't really take me out there. It was just more of a, okay, I'm going to give this to you and see where you go with it. And actually, there's a beautiful thing at the end of the film that connects back to her statement from the beginning of the film. Tim Burton weaved this story very meticulously and very carefully. This thing could have went horribly wrong. And I think that his bold and out-of-the-box choices actually help to the credit of the film. Him taking the left turn and steering away from the original really helps because he builds his own story, but never forgets what the story is about. He crafts his own tale. Take notes, Hollywood. He crafts his own tale, but he doesn't break continuity with the character once. The movie's Dumbo, the story is about Dumbo. It's not about the females around and or how they empower Dumbo or none of that garbage. The story is about the elephant. It's an emotional tale from the point of view of the elephant and how the elephant not only gets better through these people, but how it makes the people better as well, knowing what the elephant was and being a symbol to what they can be. And I'm not going to spoil much because this is in the very beginning, the first 10 minutes, but Colin Farrell plays a war hero who comes back. So it's 1910. I'm guessing about I want to say World War I, somewhere in there. Correct me if I'm wrong. And he lost an arm in France. And I don't like Colin Farrell. I can't stand him. I like him in certain roles, but he's just an obnoxious. Ugh. But in this movie, I wanted to dislike his character and even say it wasn't important. And there's a certain flair. There's a subtle charm that he adds to this film. And I can't really explain what that subtle charm is. But it's something that only Colin Farrell's character has. And it's quite unique and interesting to see. Yes, it is. Singing Child. I'm doing a spoiler free though, so don't drop anything in the comments for the people who haven't seen it yet. Alright, so there's something subtle about the way Colin Farrell plays his role. And really, this is subtle acting from all parties involved. So, sorry about that. So there's something subtle in the acting that happens by this role that Colin Farrell is portraying. And I can't quite put my finger on it, but he nails his role the best out of everyone in the cast. He's the most relatable character, and the kids. And I almost feel that's the design of the movie. The movie, at its core, is family. And accepting someone into your family that's not your family. And helping them overcome their struggles, and them helping you overcome your struggles through their example. And this is highlighted several different moments in the film. And I think that this is where Dumbo really starts to shine, is the fact that this film really does bring what the Disney core is supposed to be. It is, Tim Burton in essence did build a family film, and the critics knocked him for it. They knocked him for what he was supposed to do. Now, I read the critical critiques now. Some of them are valid with the acting, but they were expecting this message, maybe some diversity, maybe it's not about the elephant, maybe a powerful woman releases the elephant into the wild and shows the man, but that's not what this film is about. This film is about a place to belong. This film is about being different and finding where you belong in the world. And sometimes you do that on your own, and sometimes you need the help of other people to find your home, to find your place. And then when you meet up with that person, you take your experiences, right? Because Dumbo's looking for her mom, or his mom. And when you find that place, you take your life experiences and they shape who you are. And I think that is the message that Tim is conveying through this film. He's telling us that even if you're broken, and in the circus, there's a lot of different things that go on, and there's a lot of people who are lost souls, so to speak. And he highlights that, and how they're family, even though they come from all walks of life, and they don't know each other. The circus, the show, brings them together. And Dumbo becomes part of the show. And through him, the circus goes from this state of being like where it was, and it grows. And it's a strong message about how people grow with each other. And I think that's what Tim is conveying. I think Tim is conveying this subtle, deep, nuance, kind of under the layer message about belonging, and that necessarily you don't have to be part of a family to be family. And it's really great. I mean, there's some real scenes. Yes, I did like the movie. I'll be getting to that. There is some real good emotional moments in this film that highlight this notion of belonging and understanding, and how all of these broken people are made whole. And there's something beautiful at the end of the film that just makes you feel that. I left the movie feeling joyous, feeling all sorts of different emotions. But at the end of the day, this film oh my goodness, a war of chat. This is what you get on the channel. No, come on guys, we're on the Dumbo review. I'm a moment here about how we all get along, okay? I mean, come on now. This is the linchpin right here. The linchpin of this story, seriously, is about getting along. So what do I think of this film? I think that the critics did certain things right. For once, I'm not going to take it from them. But I think they got the message wrong. Or maybe they got the message. Or maybe they got the message and they didn't like the message. Because this movie doesn't spout the SJW politics. It doesn't push the narrative. This movie pushes a different narrative. A narrative they don't want you to know. A narrative about family. That's what this movie pushes. A family. And it doesn't have to be your family. It could be close friends. People you work with. The people you live with. The people you're in close proximity with. Tim Burton is a man about showing us layers in his storytelling. And in this film, he does something quite beautiful. He shows us something that, I guess, reminded me of this community. Because in this community, we come from all different walks. And we are connected by our love for entertainment. And in this movie, they come from different worlds. Yes. No soy Cole for this one. We come from different walks. We come from different areas of life. And this film highlights the fact that all people do, and especially in the circus life. But that this one magical thing, and it could have been anything, but it was Dumbo. This elephant was the catalyst for finally... This movie was showing us that Dumbo was the catalyst for change. That love, that family... Dragon tears, yes. That the love, that the family, that the dynamics that are in this film, they were brought together by a magical event. They were brought together by this thing that shouldn't have happened, but did. And it doesn't matter that the thing could fly around or whatever else. And the elephant was brought back and accepted and grew as an elephant, I guess, or a character. But each of them grew from each other. And that's what makes the end beautiful. And when you watch it, really see that connection, because that's what the film is about. It's about family. God, a Disney film that goes back to family. What? An actual family Disney movie? That's crazy. Tim made a Disney movie that encompasses a family structure? What? He didn't put politics in it? There's no SJW, there's no forget where you come from narrative that these guys push. No. This is about acceptance. This is about accepting things that are different. And it's done eloquently. And it's shown through a timeless character. And it's a message that Disney used to be about. And I think when this film came out, I think they trust Tim so much they didn't even check the final product. Tim Burton's attached. He knows what he's doing. And here's the thing. He does know what he's doing. He is a master of his craft. He didn't care what they were. They paid him the money to make the film. And you can tell. He didn't pander to anyone. He told his story. He took the character. And he said, this is what I'm going to do with him. Take it or leave it. And guess what? It's doing good. The movie is doing good. And why? I'll tell you why, because I've seen families taking their kids multiple times to see this movie. Because it is the essence of Disney being a family company. It is a movie about the family. It is a movie about belonging. It is a movie about being outcasted and finding friends who know and love and trust you. And that even if you part, that you have parted with some kind of knowledge from each other, and you've grown stronger and better for the experience. You've started here, you went here, and then you came to here and became what you were. This movie is brilliant. This movie is the essence of what made Dumbo Dumbo. Dumbo was about the wonderment of this elephant that could fly. And this movie weaves that wonderment and then takes it and shows us a deeper truth. That Dumbo wasn't just about the flying. He wasn't about the mysticism of the show. He was about bringing these broken, tragic people who were down on their luck together in love. From making someone who was selfish to realize that they wanted a brother, but they had family the whole time. That the show, that the people who sweat and they put their blood and their tears into the show to bring us entertainment. The people who work so hard, that make the family of the circus. Dumbo was the catalyst for these people who lost their way to find their way back home. It is a story of two interconnected people finding their way back. And the two characters are Dumbo and the circus. And they're both lost. And beautifully through Burton's story, he is telling how each of them found their way home. Hey, the sunglasses have become a part of the aesthetic there, geek. Dumbo is the story of acceptance, and it hit me at the end of the film. Timmy Boy hit me. Tim Burton hit me with his underlining message. Acceptance. Accepting things that are different. I don't think Disney planned on this. I think this is why this movie got panned. Because the messaging wasn't what they wanted from their Disney product. The messaging wasn't what they wanted to hear. They wanted an SJW empowerment. Yeah, exactly. They wanted an SJW empowerment statement where maybe Eva Green frees the elephants and all of the white males are evil. But they're not. They're flawed. And there's a difference. They're flawed. Yes, I did say Michael Keaton was the generic mustache-twirling evil villain. Yes, you need one in a Disney film. But Danny DeVito was the layered character. White male. Flawed. And like I said, this isn't spoilers. But there's an arc there. There's an arc there. Everyone plays a part. But the two stars, who this movie is really about, the two leads of this film are not the cast. They're not the actors. They're the circus and Dumbo. The story is supposed to be about Dumbo, and it is. Good God, the film is actually about what the title says. It's about his journey, but it's also about the circus's journey. And it's about these two things that needed each other, that went through a journey, and that learned something in the process. And an allegory for life. You meet people. You come into contact with people. You form groups and bonds. And it's these shared bonds that make us go on our own journeys. The movie is about a journey through life. It is about the people you meet, the friends you make, maybe the losses you suffer, and how particular things in your life get you through those times. That the family you meet that's not your family gets you through the times. That one magical moment. Yes, exactly. One magical moment can change your whole life. And literally, this film shows it. And I'm not spoiling anything. You've seen the trailers, right? You've seen the trailers. Dumbo is the moment the circus needs to change its course and find itself, to remember what it is. And Michael Keaton is an allegory for that temptation to change who you are and become something you're not. So, in close, I always close out by saying, do I think you should see this film? I think everybody should see this film. I think families should come out in droves and see this film, because this is what Disney used to be. This isn't a reboot. This isn't a re-trend. If you want to call it a re-anything, it's a imagining, bleh, long day, guys. Reimagining of a timeless classic done right. It is its own story. It is its own story, telling a timeless tale, but keeping the core. It doesn't forget the characters or the heart. The heart. That's what's on stage. When you see the elephant for the first time, it's the heart. No, you can't. Not on my channel. I don't want to talk work stuff. I just got out of work, man. Look at this. This is what the this is what the carnival did to me. I woke up with a dragon on my face. Literally. Alright. So should everyone see this film? Yes. You should take your kids and go show them what a good message is. Show them what dreams are. Show them what wonderment is. This film is wonderment. It's imagination. It's flair. It's character building. It's world building. It's touching messaging. This is what Disney was supposed to be. Tim just went by the quota. When they hired Tim Burton, I don't think he got the SJW memo. I think he just said, that isn't Disney. This is what I think Disney is. And good for you, Tim. Good for you. I'm glad you don't sell or pander your soul. You got your paycheck. You're a big director. Who cares what story you're telling? You've earned the right to tell these people. You will tell your own story the way you want to tell it, not the way they want the narrative pushed. And that's what Tim Burton did. He told a story, beginning, middle, end, with a message of positivity, because That's what the company is supposed to stand for. And he did it. He did what he was paid for. And you know what? Who cares if they don't hire him, because he's Tim freaking Burton and he can do anything he wants to. He's earned the right. He's paid his dues, and it's good to see someone who doesn't want to pander to the media and to the upper management in Disney, who doesn't care what they say. This is my film, and I will put what message I want to, because I'm making it, and I'm making you the money. And guess what? He's made them a lot of money opening weekend. They can call this what they want to. The media can dive bomb it all they want to. But at the end of the day, look at the audience score, okay? Look at the audience score already. Talk to the people. I do every day. When someone told me this film was magical, I was like, oh, okay. I throw that word around a little bit, but it was. Kids came out with wonderment in their eyes from what they saw. Kids came out happy and cheering with smiles, talking about the flying elephant. This is Disney. The heart of Disney as a company. This is the shred of a heart that Disney used to have. This is what Disney is supposed to be. This movie is what Disney is supposed to represent. Not politics, not agendas. The family. And Tim Burton gets it. Tim gets it. Willy Wonka might have been out of the deep end, okay? That was, I don't know what the hell that was. But this right here was Tim Burton getting to the basics of storytelling and telling his own tale, but never forgetting what the movie is about and who it's about and what the message is supposed to be about, what the character stood for and why it's iconic. He doesn't forget the icon that is the magical flying elephant. He remembers that Dumbo made our minds and imagination soar like he did in the air. He remembers the feeling as if he's watching the movie, shooting the movie, and knowing exactly what he wants to go for. And you see it. He wants your imagination to run wild. He blends the colors brilliantly. He makes the spectacle grand. You are in the circus when you watch this film. You are literally, at times, looking through Dumbo's eyes in the film because he wants you to be the character. He wants you to know the feelings of flying through the air and escaping. That is what this movie is about, and thank God that he understands what movie making is. It is an escape. It is imagination. It is wonderment. It is the feeling you get as a little kid when you first see a film on the big screen and your mind is blown at all of the moving pictures. And that's what the man does in this movie brilliantly. He captures our imagination, that thing Disney is holding hostage with all these reboots. Tim, for a second, takes the key, unlocks the door, and lets our minds soar in the air. And it is a magnificent 2 hours that I wish was almost 3 or 4. Because when I get to the end, I know it's the end, and I'm sad because I got that pit in my stomach. That pit you get, you know, the very rare one when you're watching a good movie and you don't want it to end, but you know the end is coming, and it drops you off and you go, my goodness, this is why I watch movies. This is why I review. This is why I take my daughter to the film so she can experience what I have for 33 years of my life. Give or take a few bad movies here and there. This is what going to the movies is supposed to be like. Magic and wonder and thrill and excitement. And for just a second, you're transported out of the world. And you're in a fictional, wonderful world. And you're with the story. And you're with the characters. See you, singing child. This is what filmmaking is supposed to be. And Tim Burton understands this like no one else. He understands one beautiful thing, the mind of a child and what they want to see. He understands what an adult wants to see. He understands that kids and adults will be going to this movie, and he wants them both to have the time of their life. And that's what this film does. That's what this film does. This film literally transports you to the circus and keeps you there for 2 hours. And it is beautiful. It is perfect in that sense. Now, does everything in this film work? No. There are flaws here and there. But they're not noticeable. Because at the end of the day, you still root for the good guy. You still want the bad guy to get what's coming to them. And you still have a good time. And you leave with a strong, positive message that you can tell your kids. Hey, you know what this was about? This was about it doesn't matter if you're different. You can be accepted anywhere. This was about if you can dream it, you can do it. This is about achieving anything in life if you try hard enough. Not forgetting who you are. This is about amazement. This is about growing up. This is about the wonders and joys that you will experience, and some of the hard times that you're going to feel, but it's okay, because you're gonna have friends and you're gonna have people who will help you through your hard times. That's what this movie is about. That's what this movie is about. This movie is a respect for everything that Disney is supposed to stand for. And there's certain parts that's almost a homage to the death of what it is. And you'll know the scene when you get to it. And if you see this movie, leave in the comments below if you find the scene I'm talking about. It's at the very end. And you'll understand when you see it. Because it's a powerful message. It's a powerful allegory that I don't think the media likes. And it's done so beautifully. This is what movie making is about. This is what Disney should aspire with a reimagining. A different story, and you can use the same characters, but tell a different tale. Give us something to believe in. Give us something to love. Give us something to be passionate about. And that is what this movie did for me tonight. It sparked my imagination. As if I was in the circus. As if I was seeing these events unfold in front of my eyes. I was a kid all over again. For 2 hours and 2 minutes, I was a child. Experiencing the wonder of this grand tale. Experiencing the wonder of this elephant's journey. This elephant. But not only, because I'm an adult, not only the elephant, but the people. The people. The circus, the characters, brought together by an amazing, extraordinary event that shouldn't happen. But it does, because in the world of Disney, it can. Dreams can come true. That's what their slogan is, but their movies have forgotten it. They've left it behind for money. And for once, a film came out by an amazing, intuitive, smart director who understands what it is to create and make magic. Magic! 2-hour magic. And give you a powerful message. Leave you feeling satisfied that your $10.50 was not wasted. Because you and the kids went out and you saw this grand tale. And you said, this couldn't be brought. I can't believe it. But an hour and a half, you're in it. You believe it. You cheer for a flying elephant, you cheer. Literally, people cheer and clap. Because it is when Disney was in an age of wonder. And Tim Burton's mind is fantastic. And I feel as if full of wonder. And he takes it all and he puts it in this film. And there's passion and there's heart and there's giving a damn about the characters in this film that is so great. It's so powerful. He cares. He cares about the character. He cares about the narrative. He cares about the core of the story. He cares that you care about the core of the story. He cares that you are transported, that you do not think you are in the real world. This world doesn't exist, but man, I want to live in it because it's a magical world that only Disney can create. Disney, you should hire this man. This man should do all your scripts because he gets it. He gets what I've seen floating around the internet. That imagination is dead over at Disney. It's dead. And he breathed brand new life into it and got panned by these media hacks for it. And it's sad. It's sad and it's not right that the film that should be celebrated right now, the film that should be getting praised right now, is not because they want to push the narrative that's dividing people. When these tales were about bringing them together and making us see that our differences don't matter if you believe. If you can dream it. What happened to those statements? And Tim Burton knows this. He understands this. He's got money and he doesn't care about telling their tale. That's evident from the first shot to the last. He's telling his own story and he can do it, and more directors need to see that. They can do it. You got the money, you can do it. Get the script, toss it away, and make your own. Because I think that's what Tim did. They had an idea with this, and he said, nope, nah, I'm doing this my way. And if you don't like it, I'll walk. And are they going to tell Tim Burton that he can walk? No, they're not going to tell Tim that he can't make his own story. And that's what he did. He gave us something fresh, something new, something inspiring to the imagination. And this is why he's one of my favorite directors. Because he gets it. He gets it. He gets what filmmaking is about. He gets what movie making is about. He gets why we pay money. Singing Child, you are correct. He gets it. And that's all I could say. That's all I could say. See this movie. Take your family. Get popcorn. Take the little ones. Let them see a good movie, good message that gets it. That gets what movies are supposed to be about. Telling a tale, delivering a positive message, and entertaining us. Not pandering, not politics. Entertainment. And thank you, Tim. Thank you, Tim Burton. Thank you for understanding me. Thank you for understanding people who love Disney. Thank you for telling us your story. Thank you for respecting the character and not destroying the character over your own ideal of how you feel the world should be. Thank you for creating a new world, putting them in that world, and telling their story. Thank you, Tim. Thank you for understanding what writing is, what directing is, what making a movie is. Thank you. I appreciate you. Forget what these hacks say, Tim. Toss that paper in the garbage. I know you probably did anyways. You know what? You know what it's like with negative reviews. Thank you, Tim Burton, for getting me and saving my Disney childhood and giving me some semblance of hope that they are hiring people like you to make movies that get it, that get what it's supposed to be. Not a retread, not a redo, not making the same movie in 3D, using a character and telling a story. And you can tell your own story. You can tell your own story and still make it good. You can use the same character and tell a new tale and make it fresh so that others can experience the magic of what this movie was originally intended. I honestly put this above the original. I do. I'll make that bold claim. I don't care. I put this above the original because he quite literally breathed new life into a very old character, and he made it fantastic and made us fall in love again with the same character. And he didn't need to do the old story. He didn't need to put in the politics. He didn't need to pander to Walt, to the mouse. He did it his way. He did it his way. He told his own story, and it was unique, and it was refreshing, and it was exciting, and it was everything I go to see a movie for. That's what I think of this film. Go and see it. Go and see it. Take your kids. Take the little ones. Get them the popcorn. Get them the cotton candy. Show them what movies are supposed to be, and that is magic. Magic. Movies are magic, and movies are imagination. And that's what this movie is. No cursing, or barely any. I didn't notice it. No cursing. No dividing the family. No SJW nonsense. It was storytelling at its finest. And does the film have problems? Here and there. A few. Yeah, it does. But it's still a great film. It's still a touching film. It's still a family film. It is what the company used to be. And I hope that they give this man more projects, because that is the direction Disney should head. That is the stories they should tell if they're going to use the same story. It was excellent. I loved it. And yes, singing child, you are correct. It should be about feeling emotional. And that's what this movie does. It hits every range of emotion, like an orchestra. And that's all I could say. That's all I got. That's all I could say. Go see this movie. Go see it now. Go see it immediately. When you get done with this review, drive to your cinema, pay your money, and go see this film. Let Disney know this is the movie you want from their studios. Let Disney know you want this kind of tale. You want to bring it back to the roots of what Disney entertainment is supposed to be, and that's the family. They claim it, they say it, but this movie shows it. Go spend your money and tell Disney this is the product you want. Tell them you want people like this working on your films. I got emotional there. But when something strikes me this heavy, I gotta let you guys know. So thank you everybody for tuning into this live stream. It deserved it. This movie deserves your money. This movie deserves your time. And I hope I very eloquently put these points to you so you understand. Go see this movie. That's all I got. Go see this movie and don't waste any time thinking about it. Anyways, this is Lee Cole IV. If you like this heartfelt, touching thing to go with a touching movie, then please hit that subscribe button if you're new. Smash those melees and show me love if you like this kind of a review. And as always, thank you everybody on this channel. 126 subs. Woo! And me, Goose the Cat, and my boy, the Inner Dragon. We'll see you